In the hills of Sodor, it was time for the narrow gauge controller's winter holiday party. The party was held at his house. All the children looked forward to it. Mr. Percival and his family lived near the engine depot, so all the narrow gauge engines could enjoy the party too. It was the day of the party. Bertram was working with Colin the Crane. They were very good friends. Bertram was excited. This party will be the biggest party ever. Then Mr. Percival arrived. All this cargo must be loaded before the party. Yes, sir, you can rely on us. I must visit Mountain Village Station. I will be back in time for Bertram to take me to the party. Yes, sir. Bertram told Colin all about the party. There'll be decorations, presents, and a big tree covered in lights. Bertram was excited. Colin wasn't. I've never been to the party. Colin was fixed in one place. He couldn't move from the siding. We never have parties at the wharf. Then, Bertram had an idea. Maybe this year, they could have a party at the wharf. It will be a surprise for Colin, he thought cheerily. Bertram had to find Mr. Percival. He wanted to ask him if he could have the party at the wharf. I had to go and collect another flatbed. And Bertram raced away. Bertram saw Mr. Percival bicycling away. Then he saw Smudger. He was pulling a flatbed full of presents and colored lights. Those must be for the party, Bertram huffed to himself. I have to stop Smudger from taking them to Mr. Percival's house. So Bertram didn't jump after Mr. Percival. He raced after Smudger instead. Smudger, stop, stop! The party's now in the wharf. Smudger was surprised. It will be a surprise party for Colin. I'll take your flatbed. Will you tell the other engines? Alright, Bertram. And Smudger raced away. Bertram shunted the flatbed to Colin. Leave this flatbed until I come back. Colin was puzzled, but he still had lots to do, so he carried on working. Now I must find Mr. Percival, Bertram thought, and he raced away. On his way, Bertram met Millie. There was something long and pointy on her flatbed. It's the tree for the party. The party is now at the wharf. Millie was surprised. I'll take your tree. Will you tell the other engines? Alright, Bertram. And Millie raced quickly away. Bertram puffed and huffed to Colin. Leave this flatbed until I come back. Colin was puzzled, but Colin still had lots of other work to do. So Bertram raced away. It was getting late, and Bertram still had not asked Mr. Percival if they could have a party at the wharf. At last, Bertram puffed up to Mountain Village Station. but Mr. Percival wasn't there. Mr. Percival's already gone back to the wharf. Oh no! I must puff back as quickly as I can. At the wharf, the two flatbeds were still waiting to be unloaded. Mr. Percival was cross. Please, unload these at once. Bertram had told Colin to wait for him, but Colin didn't want Bertram to get into trouble. Yes, sir. Then Mr. Percival went to look for Bertram. Soon, Bertram puffed up to Colin. I waited for you, but Mr. Percival told me to finish the job. It's all done now. He was very pleased. Bertram looked down at the canal. He wasn't pleased at all. Top Hat was pulling the lights, presents, and the tree away on the barge. The children would arrive soon at Mr. Percival's house, and there was nothing there for the party. And there was nothing at the wharf either. Now no one will have the party, Bertram huffed to himself. And I still haven't found Mr. Percival. He felt terrible. I must stop the barge. Then Bertram saw Mr. Percival. He knew what he had to do. Bertram shoved over to see Mr. Percival. Where have you been? Bertram told him all about his idea to have a party at the wharf. It was a surprise party for Colin, sir. Colin has never been to a party. Mr. Percival thought having the party at the wharf was a very good idea. But you should have asked me first. Ah, yes, sir. If I worked quickly, I could still put everything right. Alright, Bertram, but hurry now. Bertram raced to catch up with the barge. He called out to Top Hat. Stop! Please turn around and go back to Colin. Alright, Bertram. Bertram steamed back to Colin. He told Colin all about the party. I want to have a surprise party for you. For me? Colin was delighted and surprised. Soon, Colin was unloading everything for the party. Now, Bertram felt very happy. He steamed away to Mr. Percival's house. Bertram whistled to the children. The party is now at the wharf. Hooray! Hooray! And they whooshed away. All the other engines were waiting at the wharf. Even Thomas and Emily. Presents were piled high. The tree was covered in lights, and so was Colin. What a wonderful party! Thank you, Bertram! Bertram was delighted. All the engines whistled and tooted. The children cheered and cheered. It was their best winter holiday party ever.